Hi everyone, I'm Emma. It's really nice to be here with you again.
Hey guys, I'm Mike. Glad you're here with us today. This is the Calm English Corner podcast, where we slow things down a little and talk about real life in simple, natural English.
Yeah, just two people having a real conversation. Nothing too polished, just honest thoughts and feelings. So, Mike, can I ask you something?
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever had those days where everything feels unclear? Like nothing is exactly wrong, but something inside feels off?
Yeah, actually. More often than I'd like to admit.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes I wake up and I just feel strange. I'm doing all the normal things, work, eating, talking to people, but inside, I feel kind of disconnected.
That word really fits. Disconnected. It's hard to explain, right?
Yeah, it really is.
It's like I'm moving through the day, but I don't really know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it.
I think a lot of people quietly go through that, and that's actually what we're talking about today.
Why we feel lost sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay, that already feels very close to home, because sometimes I honestly don't know what I want, and that makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts. When life feels unclear, we often immediately think, something must be wrong with me.
Exactly. Like everyone else seems to know what they're doing, and I'm just drifting.
Yeah. But you know what? Feeling lost is often much more normal than we think.
You think so?
Yeah. Sometimes it happens when life changes. Sometimes it happens when you've been too busy to listen to yourself. And sometimes it just happens quietly.
I think for me, it often comes after I've been doing the same routine for a long time. Like one day I suddenly stop and think, wait, is this really what I want?
Yeah. And that question can be really uncomfortable. But it's also important.
I don't know. Part of me feels like if I ask that question too much, I'll just become more confused.
Maybe, but avoiding the question doesn't always help either. Sometimes feeling lost is just your mind trying to tell you that something needs attention.
So it's not always a bad thing.
No, not always. Sometimes it's actually the beginning of something deeper.
What do you mean?
Well, like a moment where you start noticing that your outside life and your inside world are no longer matching.
Wow, that actually makes sense. Because sometimes it's not that life is bad, it just doesn't feel like me.
Yeah, exactly. And that feeling, as uncomfortable as it is, can be the first step toward understanding yourself better.
Okay, so this is the part I really struggle with.
Tell me.
When I feel lost, my first thought is always, why am I like this? Like I immediately assume there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, I think that's such a common reaction. We often turn confusion into self-judgment very quickly.
Exactly. It's like I tell myself, other people seem to know what they want. They have plans, goals, direction, and then I look at myself and think, why do I still feel so uncertain?
Yeah. But you know what? Feeling lost is often much more normal than we think.
Maybe, but it still feels like being lost means I'm doing something wrong.
I want to gently challenge that.
Okay,
Feeling lost does not mean you're broken. Sometimes it simply means you're in a period of change, questioning, or emotional transition.
emotional transition. That sounds nicer than I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, but honestly, That's often what it is. Life moves in seasons. There are times when things feel clear and steady, and there are times when everything feels uncertain. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It means you're human.
But why does it feel so heavy then?
Because uncertainty is uncomfortable. Our minds like answers. They like labels, plans, and direction. When those things disappear, even for a while, it can feel like the ground is moving under you.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. Like I'm standing somewhere, but I don't really know where.
Yeah, and instead of saying, I'm broken, maybe the kinder question is, what is this feeling trying to tell me?
Okay, but what if the answer is nothing? What if I just feel lost for no clear reason?
That can happen too. Sometimes there isn't one obvious reason. It could be tiredness, burnout, pressure, loneliness, or just a long period of living on autopilot. Feelings don't always arrive with clear explanations.
Yeah, and sometimes that creates even more pressure.
But here's the thing. Not every unclear season needs an immediate solution. Sometimes it needs patience and curiosity.
So maybe being lost is less about something is wrong with me and more about something in my life needs attention.
Exactly. Lost doesn't mean broken. Sometimes it means you're beginning to notice that something needs to change, grow, or be understood more deeply.
I think one reason feeling lost becomes so heavy is comparison.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Like, I look around and it seems like everyone else already knows what they're doing. Some people have clear careers, clear goals, clear relationships, and then there's me still trying to figure out what I even want next month.
Yeah, that pressure is so real. Sometimes we're not only dealing with our own confusion, but also with the feeling that we're somehow behind.
Exactly. It's like there's this invisible timeline in my head. By this age, I should know what I want. By this point, I should be more stable, more successful, more certain.
Yeah, the word should can be really heavy. It quietly creates pressure everywhere.
But isn't some pressure normal? I mean, shouldn't we have some idea of where we're going?
Well, I think it's natural to want direction, but the problem starts when we confuse direction with certainty. Life is not always something you can fully plan. Sometimes clarity comes while you're living, not before.
I kind of disagree a little, because if you don't have a plan, isn't it easy to just drift?
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm not saying plans are bad. Plans can help, but sometimes we expect ourselves to have every answer too early. Like, imagine being in your 20s or even 30s and thinking you should already know exactly who you are and what your whole life will look like. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it does sound unrealistic.
Exactly. We often compare our inside confusion to other people's outside confidence, but we don't really know what's happening in their minds.
That's true. Someone can look very sure from the outside and still feel completely lost inside.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people are figuring things out quietly. They just don't always show it.
I think social media makes this worse, too. Everyone looks like they have a plan, a routine, a vision board, a 5-year goal.
Yeah, the perfect timeline life. And then you look at your own life and it feels messy.
Exactly. And then I start feeling late, like I missed some important step.
But life is not a race with one fixed timeline. People grow, change, and find direction at different moments. Some people know early. Some people discover things later. And both are okay.
So maybe the pressure comes less from being lost and more from believing I'm not allowed to be lost.
Exactly. Sometimes the most healing thing is letting go of the idea that you must have everything figured out right now.
I want to ask something a bit more personal.
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever had a time when you genuinely felt completely lost? Like, not just confused for a day, but really directionless for a while?
Actually, I have.
Really?
Yeah, there was a period a few years ago when everything on the outside looked fine. I had a routine, I was working, talking to people, doing all the normal things. But inside, I felt strangely empty.
That sounds hard.
Yeah, every day looked the same. And one evening, I remember sitting by the window and thinking, why does my life not feel like it belongs to me?
Wow, that's a strong feeling. What do you think caused it?
I think I had been living on autopilot for too long. I was doing what felt expected, what seemed practical, what looked right from the outside. But I had stopped asking myself what I actually wanted.
I think that happens more than people admit.
Yeah, and the difficult part was I kept telling myself I should be grateful because nothing was technically wrong. But deep down, something felt disconnected.
So, what changed? Did you suddenly figure it out?
No, not at all. That's actually the part I want to be honest about. There wasn't one magical moment.
No?
No. It started with something very small. I began taking short evening walks, alone, without music, without my phone, just quietly, with my thoughts.
That sounds simple.
It was, but it gave me space, and slowly, little thoughts started coming up. Things like, I miss being creative, or I don't feel excited anymore, or I'm spending too much time living for expectations.
Wow. So, clarity came from slowing down.
Yeah, not from forcing answers, but from giving myself enough quiet to hear what was already there.
I think that's interesting because when I feel lost, I usually try to fix it quickly. I search for advice, make plans, watch videos.
Yeah, and sometimes that helps. But sometimes too much noise makes it harder to hear yourself.
So the answer wasn't immediate direction. It was understanding what felt disconnected first.
Exactly. I didn't suddenly know my whole path. I just became more honest with myself. And that honesty slowly became direction.
I really like that because it makes clarity feel less like a sudden answer and more like something that grows.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes finding direction starts with simply noticing what no longer feels true for you.
After everything we talked about, I think I'm starting to see this feeling differently.
How so?
Before, feeling lost always felt like a sign that something was wrong, like I had failed to plan my life properly.
Yeah. I think a lot of people quietly carry that belief. But sometimes feeling lost is not failure. Sometimes it's growth happening before clarity arrives.
Growth before clarity. I really like that because honestly, some of the most confusing times in my life came right before something changed.
Exactly. Sometimes the old version of your life, your mindset, or even your identity no longer fits, but the new version hasn't fully formed yet. That in-between space can feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like you're standing between two versions of yourself.
Yes, and that space often feels like being lost, but maybe it's actually becoming.
Touched. Wow. Becoming feels much kinder than lost.
Yeah, because growth is rarely neat. It's often messy, uncertain, and slow. You question things, you outgrow old patterns, and sometimes you don't know what comes next.
I think I always wanted life to feel more linear, like step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah, I think we all do. But real life doesn't usually move in straight lines. Sometimes it circles, pauses, and changes direction completely.
Yeah, And I guess that doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're still moving.
Exactly. Sometimes uncertainty is proof that you're paying attention. You're noticing that something needs to shift. That awareness is actually a powerful thing.
So maybe the goal is not to never feel lost. Maybe it's to not panic when it happens.
Yeah, I really believe that. Instead of seeing it as an emergency, maybe see it as an invitation, a moment to listen more closely to yourself.
I like that. An invitation instead of a crisis.
Yeah, because sometimes the most meaningful changes begin in unclear seasons. The job you leave, the mindset you outgrow, the relationship with yourself that starts to change, all of that can begin in moments that first feel confusing.
If you're listening right now and you've been feeling a bit lost lately, maybe this is just a gentle reminder that you don't need every answer today.
Yeah, you're not behind and you're not broken. Sometimes life becomes unclear because something inside you is growing beyond what used to fit.
Thank you for staying with us today. We really hope this conversation made you feel a little less alone in this feeling.
Be gentle with yourself this week.
Sometimes clarity comes slowly, and that's okay.
We'll talk again soon.
See you next time. Bye-bye. Smiling.
Bye-bye.